Have you ever caught yourself reacting sharply, impulsively, emotionally, only to regret it later? Someone says something hurtful, and your immediate instinct is either to lash out or shut down. For years, I did exactly that. My choices were born from emotion, not clarity. But something shifted when I learned the value of the pause. There is a sacred space between stimulus and response, and within that space, however brief, it holds the possibility of liberation. The Buddha taught that our suffering isn't necessarily rooted in what happens to us, but in how we react, especially when those reactions go unexamined. You see, most of us live on autopilot. A thought appears, and we follow it. A feeling arises, and we obey it. But what if we didn't? What if we could pause and ask, what is really true in this moment? This isn't just a spiritual idea, it's a practical tool for daily life, especially as we grow older and the noise of the outer world softens. More of our decisions become internal. How do I respond to my aging body? How do I speak to my children, my partner, my past self? How do I spend the limited energy I have each day? That's where the practice of discernment comes in. 1. The art of wise discernment. In Buddhist psychology, there's a concept called second-order thinking. Instead of just asking, what happens if I say yes to this? You ask, and what happens after that? You follow the ripple. Saying yes now might feel polite, but will it breed resentment later? Avoiding a tough conversation might bring short-term comfort, but what long-term discomfort will it cost? Another tool is inverse thinking. Rather than asking, how do I get peace? Ask, how am I contributing to my own restlessness? This turns the mirror back toward yourself. It's not always easy. It requires humility and radical honesty. But the clarity it brings, that's priceless. As one Dharma teacher said, most of the time we're not choosing wisely. We're choosing comfortably. And that stings, doesn't it? But when you sit with it, you begin to see the truth. Wisdom often walks hand in hand with discomfort, not pain, but truth. And truth, while unsettling at first, clears the air. 2. Clear seeing in everyday life. So how do we develop that clarity? We begin by slowing down. We practice mindfulness not just on the meditation cushion, but in the smallest acts of daily life. Washing dishes with full awareness. Walking not to get somewhere, but to feel each step. Listening without planning a reply. And perhaps most importantly, asking better questions. Not, what do I feel like doing? But what action aligns with my deepest values? Not, what do others expect of me? But what choice brings peace to my heart? And when clarity doesn't arrive right away, we don't panic. We wait. We breathe. We trust. Because the truth rarely shouts. It whispers. Wisdom isn't one big life decision. It's 1,000 small ones, each day, each moment. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's knowing when to act and when to surrender. It's knowing when to say yes and when to bow out with grace. So if you're feeling unsure about your next step, maybe don't rush to figure it out. Sit. Light a candle. Let the waters of the mind settle. In that stillness, something deeper will rise, not from fear or ego, but from the quiet knowing that already lives within you. 3. Designing a life of inner peace. There comes a point, often in the later chapters of life, when we stop striving to fix everything and start listening, not to the noise of the world, but to the quiet voice within. It doesn't shout, it hums. After 60, for many, the roles we once clung to, parent, worker, caretaker, begin to fall away. And in that space, a terrifying and beautiful question arises. How do I want to live now? In Buddhism, we're taught that life isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we co-create, moment by moment, breath by breath, through intention, through awareness, through the cultivation of our inner world. a practice known as bhavana. I once met a retired firefighter named Thomas. He spent his career running into burning buildings. But in his 70s, there were no more alarms. At first, he felt useless. But then, he started walking each morning, slowly, quietly. At first, it was just for exercise. But eventually, he said, they became conversations with life. He carried a notebook, jotted down thoughts, haikus, memories, moments of gratitude. I used to put out fires, he said. Now I light candles. That is the transformation, from reaction to reflection, from fixing to simply being. 4. Peace is not control, it's responsiveness. Here's the truth no one tells us. We don't need a perfect plan to design a peaceful life. Because peace doesn't come from control, it comes from responsiveness. We design our lives not by forcing things to fit, but by making small, loving adjustments along the way. Course corrections rooted in clarity and kindness. One beautiful metaphor is to think of your life as a garden. Each day ask, what am I planting? What am I watering? What needs pruning? What am I allowing to bloom without interference? Maybe you begin your mornings with stillness instead of scrolling. Maybe you start saying no without guilt. Maybe you reserve time each week not for chores, but for soul work, journaling, prayer, or simply watching clouds move across the sky. As one Zen teacher said, if you want to transform your life, start by changing how you tie your shoes. 5. Subtracting to find peace. Peace doesn't mean the absence of difficulty. It means no longer arguing with reality. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is tanha, craving, grasping, this belief that this moment is not enough. But the path out of suffering, it isn't about gaining more. It's about letting go. Let go of the need to be productive every hour. Let go of people who drain your joy. Let go of identities that no longer fit. Let go of the story that you're running out of time. Because right now, exactly as you are, is a sacred starting point. And the most beautiful lives are rarely the most impressive. They're the most intentional, the most present, the most loving. So design your life gently, with soft hands, with a tender heart. Let it become a sanctuary, not for perfection, but for presence. 6. The final truth, you don't need more time, you need more presence. If you've stayed with this reflection until now, thank you. Maybe something in you has softened, or maybe something has awakened. A flicker, a whisper. You don't need more time, you just need more presence. The Buddha didn't teach us how to escape life. He taught us how to enter it fully, with clarity, with compassion, with courage. And the most meaningful changes aren't grand revolutions. They are small choices, pausing before you speak, forgiving even without an apology, walking a little slower, loving without waiting, letting go again and again and again. In every insight we've explored, from time perception to relationships, energy to creativity, letting go to reclaiming your voice, it all points to the same thing. Living awake, not perfectly, but awake enough to notice the color of the sky. Awake enough to hear the warmth in someone's voice. Awake enough to sit with grief and not run from it. Awake enough to feel joy without needing a reason. The Buddha once said, a moment of pure awareness is more valuable than 100 years lived in forgetfulness. So where do you begin? Here. When do you begin? Now, because your life is not waiting. It's already here. Maybe today all you do is hold a cup of tea and feel its warmth. Maybe you reach out to someone you've missed. Maybe you forgive. Maybe you simply whisper, thank you, for breath, for body, for one more chance to begin again. Because that's all we really need. Not more time, but more presence within the time we already have. So I invite you now, take one idea from this reflection, just one. Let it sit beside you. Let it grow roots in your day. And may your life, no matter your age, past, or regrets, become a handmade tapestry, stitched with intention, colored by kindness, woven with the joy of truly being awake, because the best moment to wake up is always now. If this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to our channel or sharing this with someone you love.